how this came to be, and that was these two gentlemen right here, Dave Franchino and Jeff Rogers. Jeff, formerly with Pacific Cycle, and Dave with Design Concepts, put the idea together of us meeting, and the idea that we needed to come up with some equipment that sort of even the playing field for kids with disabilities, and also look at cost and adjustability. For a lot of us that have children, or we were children riding two-wheel bikes, you know, we might have been able to afford to go out and find or make or create a two-wheel bike that would adjust, that we would get a different bike as we grew. Probably not going to be able to do that with this kind of technology and hand bike, and so one of the things that I wanted to happen was have a bike that was maximally adjustable for lots of disabilities, but also to accommodate growth. And they exactly did that with this bike. I think it was my understanding that, well, you can see there's an army of people here that wanted to be involved with this. And from the first time we were there, we were treated like kings and queens. I took 10 students to that initial meeting, and we were treated like a paying client. And in fact, we didn't pay anything for this. This bike was donated in its funds through a crowdsourcing program. The work and engineering that went into this bike was all donated to us. And so I can't help but say thank you enough and a round of applause for that. Some really interesting things that came with the bike is that, I don't know how many of you have seen a prototype before, but prototypes never look like this. They're usually pretty raggedy, they're never painted, and they're always just kind of, you know, kind of scabbed together, but the engineering design behind them is always, you know, the utmost importance. This bike is far from that. One of the first things that caught my eye is that the head tube badge on this bike has our logo on it. No Limits Kids Fitness. So the details that they put into this was just amazing. The bike does adjust to accommodate as many kids with disabilities as we can possibly think of, abilities, ranges of abilities, and it does adjust for growth. So it did many of those things and more. So I'm really happy with it. So thank you again. Another little add-on to this is Craig was a student that I worked with, how many years ago? As an undergrad.
Too many? 22?
22 years ago, we worked together on a different kind of bike that was looking at different musculature, but yet accommodating the best strengths that we might have if we couldn't use our legs. And Craig designed a rowing bicycle. Now 22 years later, getting connected with Jeff and Dave, he ends up working for the crew, the design concept firm, unknown to me, and then took the lead on wanting to do this. So it was kind of a full circle thing. So small world, and an incredible relationship that's still there. So you want to say anything else?
Yeah, I guess, again, hi, I'm Craig Connor from Design Concepts. We're a product development firm here in town, and I'm just one of 16 people from our company that worked on this project. And we had a great time working with Tim and his staff, getting their input, because what we really wanted to do was not only make a bike that adjusts as kids grow, as Tim already mentioned, but also make a bike that really works for Tim and his staff. They do a lot of work with the kids to get them set up for success and get them in a position literally where they can get the most out of equipment like this. So a big part of our focus was making a bike that works for Tim and his staff as well. It makes it as easy as possible to work with them so that they can spend all their time focusing on the kids in the program. So what started out as a pretty simple project in theory ended up taking about 2 years of development, so thank you for your patience. Our original plan was to do a crowdfunding campaign to raise money to buy an adult bike that we could start with and do some modifications to, which we thought would be relatively simple modifications. It ended up being a little bit more involved than that. Our crowdfunding campaign was very successful. We had 32 different donors contribute the $5,000 for the raw materials, including the bike we started with. But all that really remains of that initial bike is kind of here in the front section. We ended up completely rebuilding the whole frame, the whole seat support, and the mechanism that can move the child up, it can adjust the seat height up, it can change the pitch of the seat itself, the angle of the backrest, and move the child so that they can reach the cranks comfortably. We did a lot of work, so just about everything from having the wheels rebuilt to integrating all of the shifting controls right on the handles so that you can safely pedal, brake, and shift. So it was a lot of work. We had a lot of fun throughout the entire process. We check in with Tim and his crew, get design feedback, look at different options as to what was going to work best for them. And we're just delighted today to see it here and in use. Especially as Tim mentioned, I'm one of the recipients of Tim's help and expertise. He's been very generous in the past 2 decades that I've known him, donating his time and his expertise to a lot of engineering students at UW-Madison. And it's about some time that somebody turned the table and volunteered some work for Tim. So on behalf of Design Concepts, we're very pleased that we could help and get you this prototype, and we're excited to see the benefit that it can have for all the kids in the program, get the benefits and the joy of cycling. So, thanks a lot.